I turned this livestock tank into a pool, and today I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. I chose this location for a pool because it's private but still gets plenty of midday sun. This is a temporary location for this pool, so rather than using crushed rock or sand as the base, I'm actually using high quality soil, because by this time next year I plan on having vegetables growing here. The first step is to create a nice smooth, level platform for the pool. A long straight 2x4 works great for ensuring the ground is smooth and level. So here's the stock tank. It's 8 feet in diameter and 2 feet deep, and was really easy to transport on top of the bed of my pickup truck. As you can see, it's also surprisingly lightweight and pretty easy to move because it's just a giant wheel. Most farm supply and feed stores sell these large stock tanks, but due to the recent popularity of these stock tank pools, the hardest part of this project was tracking one down. With the tank in place, I'll double check that it's level, because once it's full, it's going to weigh almost 6,000 pounds, so any adjustments need to happen now. So at this point, I could just fill this stock tank with water and I would have a stock tank pool, a very simple one. And in fact, that's what I've done the last couple of months. Just filled it with water, added a chlorine float, skimmed off any leaves or sediment with a regular pool skimmer, and it's worked great. But over time, the water did become a little bit murky, probably because of sunscreen and that sort of thing. So today, I'm going to turn this into a true stock tank pool by installing a pump, and I'll even show you how to incorporate a very simple vacuum hose right into the system so that you can vacuum up any of the sediment that doesn't make it to the pump. This is the pump that I'm using. It's an Intex sand filter pump, and I'll add a link to it in the description below so that you can learn more about it if you're interested. And I'll talk a little bit more about why I chose this pump later in the video, but there are plenty of other options out there, so chances are you might be using something completely different. The pump comes with 2 1.5-inch connection hoses and 1 inlet fitting. I purchased these 2 plunger valves separately, and I was unable to find an outlet fitting anywhere in stock, so I made this DIY outlet fitting from materials I found at my local hardware store for about 10 bucks, and I'll show you exactly how I made it. I'm also using a drill, a 3 1/4 inch hole saw, a 2 3/4 inch hole saw, a tape measure, and a pencil. Oh, and a file. I'll start by installing the inlet fitting. This is where the water will re-enter the pool after being filtered in the pump. It should be installed near the top edge of the pool but below the surface of the water. I'll use the gasket to mark exactly where I need to drill the hole. Tapping a nail or screw in the center will keep the pilot bit from sliding around as I start to drill. For the inlet valve, I'm using this 2 3/4 inch hole saw. Now I'll use a file to smooth out any of the rough edges. This fitting should be installed with the gasket on the inside of the pool. With the bleeder valve facing up, I'll thread on the collar hand tight. This plunger valve is not required, but it's convenient because it allows me to stop the flow of water to the pump when necessary. Now I'll drill the hole for the outlet fitting, which should be placed near the bottom of the pool, and about 1/4 of the way around the pool from the inlet fitting to optimize water circulation. If you can find an inlet fitting that works with your pump, buy it. If not, here's how I built mine. This is just a regular shower drain, but its design is very similar to a pool pump outlet fitting. So all I have to do is attach this 2-inch male coupling so I can connect it to my pump hoses. And I'll use ABS glue to glue it all together. I'm installing this outlet fitting with the gasket on the inside of the pool just as I did with the inlet fitting, and I'll screw on this collar hand tight once again. Now for the optional DIY hose vacuum connection. When deciding whether or not you want to add something like this to your pump plumbing, keep in mind that even with the best pump properly installed, there will still be sand and sediment that accumulates in the bottom of the pool. So adding something like this will make it much easier to keep clean. For my vacuum manifold, I'm using a 2" to 3/4 inch T, a 2" male fitting and a 2" female fitting, and I'll connect those together with 2 pieces of ABS pipe, some glue, and some primer. For the valve, I'm using this 1/4 turn hose bib. This hose wand will work as my vacuum once I remove this strainer. It even has its own on and off switch. Teflon tape like this should always be used on any threaded coupling that doesn't seat to a gasket. I'll connect this plunger valve just past the vacuum manifold. Alright, it's time to sweep up those metal shavings and fill her up to check for leaks. And we've got a leak. So you can see here there's a little bit of water leaking from the back side of my outlet fitting. So I removed it and added this additional gasket to the outside of the pool, then filled it again. With this additional gasket in place, I've got no leaks. Alright, let's keep filling her up. Now it's time to install the filter pump. The pump needs to rest on a sturdy, level surface, so I'm just using this small pallet and I'm concealing it in the hedge behind the stock tank. As I said, there are a lot of different options of pumps to choose from, but I think the biggest consideration is whether you want a pump that has a disposable filter or a sand pump like this. I chose the sand pump because basically I filled this big basin with sand and it only needs to be changed every 6 years. Whereas with a filter pump, most of them have disposable filters that you need to switch out every month. So even though this pump costs more up front, it'll save me time and money in the long run, and it's way less waste going into the landfill. The reason I'm not explaining exactly how I'm setting this pump up is because you might be using a completely different pump, and it comes with really clear, simple instructions. So if you get this pump and probably any other Intex pump, you'll see that it's actually very simple to set up. Basically, I'm just connecting one hose to the inlet and one hose to the outlet, and then I'm opening these plunger valves. Now I'll just plug it in, turn it on, and we're good to go. All right, let me show you how this vacuum hose works real quick before I test out the pool. Basically, this will work because of something called the Venturi effect. When the pump is running and water is flowing through this pipe, if I open this valve, it creates a suction in this hose. So I can use this hose wand to vacuum up all of the sediment that doesn't make it into the filter pump. And when I cover the outlet strainer with my hand or another object, it increases the suction. There's not much sediment yet and it's kind of hard to see here, so let me show you how it works with a piece of paper. There you have it. All right, I guess it's time to test it out. All right, not bad. That was refreshing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button. If you want to see lots of gardening videos and the occasional DIY project like this, consider subscribing. If you have any questions at all, ask them in the comments below. And otherwise, we'll see you all next time.